And very close to you when I said hello today. And welcome to the Fat Squirrel's Piece. Today is, I have no idea, June 7th, because I have a library hold that's ready for pickup tomorrow. Well, that expires tomorrow, so I need to get it by tomorrow. June 7th, and this is episode 296, I think. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. Do you know what? I really am so excited you came over today. I didn't think you were going to get to come over because they've been working on the house next door to us and it is so loud. So loud. But like, luckily you came over today and they're just magically quiet. I think it's because it might rain today and they're on like a painting step. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm sorry, I'm making lots of noise. I left my knitting on the table. I had to get it. There's also some creaking happening. Okay, so because you come visit me frequently, you know that when you come visit in my dining room, there's a futon in my dining room. You didn't realize that? Yeah, there totally is. We have a 2-bedroom house, so it makes sense to have like an additional like space for somebody to sleep. So we have a futon in our dining room. Clearly. Ta-da! So luckily, if you eat too much and you need a nap, bam. You might occasionally see Gus's tail floof up. Just FYI, that's what that is. It's Gus. Now I feel like I'm all discombobulated. I think I can get it together. Gus, do you want to say hi before like I start? By the way, what I'm wearing, I think I kind of told you I was making it last time. This is a ruby top. Don't let him fool you. He does this like thing every time you pick him up, but he actually likes to be picked up, unlike Annie, who just like goes completely rigid. She's our ask before hugging dog. The answer will almost always be no. But Gus is like, okay. Except that Gus is terrified of the noise that's well, terrified is probably a strong word. He's uncomfortable with the amount of noise that's happening next door. They often run it. We live in, well, we don't live in the city, but we live like inside the loop. So we're considered like a metro area, I think. And so I think I told you last time, yes, okay, that's right. I'm sorry, I forget what we talked about last time sometimes. Our houses are really close together and they've been putting their generator between our houses. It's so loud. I think partly because we have like a single pane window that's over there and there's no insulation. I know I've told you all of this. Okay, I'm gonna stop. But the point is, it's been very loud and Gus is a total scaredy cat. He alternates between like barking at the guys as they like walk between our houses. We have a window that this curtain, it's right here. Hi. So he alternates between like barking at them ferociously if there's ever a gap in the curtain where he can see somebody moving. Oh, don't you eat that wool. Don't you eat it. Don't you do it. I see you. Little rat. He loves to eat wool. Every time I think I've kind of broken him of it, he just goes right back to it. Anyway, he's like, stop talking bad about me, Mom. So every time he used to go out and they're out there with that generator running, he gets too afraid to actually go outside. And like, he is our dog that wants to go out all the time. Like my husband is constantly like, we just need to install a doggy door because that dog is driving me crazy. Who lets the dog out 95% of the time? Another story. But so like I often actually have to like pick him up, take him out, put him down and stand next to him while he has bathroom time so that he's brave enough to go outside when the generator was running. And then one time I was out there with him and the generator was running and I was like, it's okay, it's okay. And then somebody used a nail gun and he just started and ran for the door like I had really betrayed him, which clearly I had. I'm having green tea. I'm really trying to work on accepting alternate tea options. This one is green tea with coconut, I think. This is Harney & Sons. Clearly I bought it because it was in a tin. It doesn't tell me what it is. It's green tea and coconut. And I'm trying to get better about it. I'm trying to be a person who could drink herbal teas and not be like, this tastes like dirty water. I really want to be a person who drinks herbal teas. It's okay. I was a person in college who wanted to be a person who ate salads because I didn't eat salads. And now I'm a person who really enjoys salads. So I just have to keep drinking it. I want to be this person. Let me be this person. Also, this is the first day I made iced tea. I'm so excited. First iced tea of the summer. I'm hoping it tastes delicious. Oh, speaking of delicious, I feel like I need to do, what are we, the corrections column of the newspaper. That's a thing that we used to have where they printed news on paper that came to your house and then you read it with your eyeballs and your brain. I need to reprint I need to print the corrections column or whatever. I need to make 2 corrections. Multiple weeks ago, I told you I had a vanilla cream cold brew from Starbucks and I was raving about how amazing it was. Okay, I'm sorry. It was amazing. It was not a lie. But maybe I should have had like 2 or 3 or 4 before I really weighed in on how amazing it was. I think maybe it just hit me on a day. It was a day where I was going to the oncologist. So for just a follow-up appointment, I'm fine. So like there may have just been like, everything was heightened because I was all stressed out and I had one and it was amazing. But since then I have tried to recapture the magic and it's really fallen flat. So either that barista was a witch, which is completely possible, or I was just, it was the first time I'd had it and it was amazing. But now I've had them, they're okay, but they're not like revelatory. Amendment number 2, on Instagram, I posted a picture of me post-ceramics class eating strawberry ice cream. And I said it was the best strawberry ice cream I've ever had. It was. It was from a local ice cream shop that we have called Square Scoop. They're my favorite ice cream shop. Lick, it's called Lick, which is the fancy ice cream shop, like the mega fancy ice cream shop. They have like flavors like cedar and whiskey, lemon poppy seed and lavender. But they also have ones that I feel like that's too much for me personally. Okay, for me personally. That is over the line of an ice cream experience that I want to have. Right? I feel like that moves me into something more like a pie or a cake where I'm more accepting of those combined flavors because it feels more like a sensory experience to have those things. Like there's different textures and like aromas and like usually you're like in a place where you're like sitting and like you can concentrate on the experience, whereas ice cream for me is more like, I'm not like a diehard ice creamer. Like I don't need ice cream. Like I know some people need ice cream. I enjoy it. It's fine, but it's never like it's not my last dessert choice. Like, you know what I mean? Like for my last dessert on earth, it's not my choice. I'm not sure what my choice is. Fruit pie, probably. But cake is amazing. But cake is so often disappointing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, fruit pie can be very disappointing though. But they're not going to give me like a gas station hand pie for my last pie, right? They're going to give me a real pie. Anyway, but usually you can tell when pie is going to be not, you're like, okay, I'm eating this pie in this package because I feel like I need a sweet fix, but I'm going to just acknowledge it's not going to be this pie. Cake is a trick. Lots of times fancy, uber fancy cakes that apparently other people really love are mediocre, quite frankly. It's very hard to get amazing cake. But maybe that's why it should be my last dessert, because it would be an amazing cake. And that does make it a good last dessert. Okay, that's my last dessert. An amazing cake. I would really like the strawberry buttercream. I think it was a strawberry buttermilk cake from York Cafe in Newport, Kentucky. circa 1996-ish. No, 1997, 8 maybe. I think I was in college. It needs to be somewhere in that neighborhood. That's what I would like. Back to the ice cream. When I'm having ice cream, it's usually like a more casual experience. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just like, it's more social. Oftentimes there's more people around. I don't know. Maybe that's because I don't eat ice cream at home that much. Chubby Hubby is an exception. But anyway, Square Scoop is my perfect like spot. Like, it's got a good quality ice cream, but not like over into like culinary flavors, right? They have this amazing graham cracker thing that happens. They have several ice creams that have a graham cracker. I would not call it a swirl because it's chunkier than like the amount of it is like heftier than swirl. Maybe swirl is a way of like downselling it so that you're just excited when you get more than a swirl, but it's like a swirl. It's a fat swirl of graham cracker crust. And it is, they have like a banana cream pie. Like they change the flavors, but they have like a banana cream pie and a key lime pie. And my teen really loves the apple pie ice cream, which I just, for some reason, I can't get behind. I don't know why. It's just the idea of it. I'm not on board. Even though I love all things apple. And the Graham Central Station. They all involve this amazing graham cracker swirl. Where am I going with this? Anyway, they've got good ice cream. It was, in fact, the best strawberry ice cream I have ever had when I had it. I have since had it again, though, and it was still good, but not, oh, I mean, obviously that first time was the best time. So I can't, it's not going to be the best ice cream I've ever had every time I have it. But it was not as, as I said earlier, it was not as revelatory the second time. Now, I don't know, again, is it circumstantial? I don't know. Is that the right word? Maybe it is circumstantial, like the circumstances. I mean, I know what circumstantial means in a legal drama, but I just use it in not a legal drama way, and I'm not sure now. Whatever, don't tell me. I'll look it up after. You can tell me. I enjoy when you tell me things. But the first time I had it, like, it had such a high density of strawberry puree, and the strawberry puree was like this perfect icy consistency, but like not too chunky, like not too hard. Like, I'm not a fan of, like, for example, chocolate flake in ice cream, because I want the chocolate flake to melt, and like it's too much work to get like the chocolate flake to melt, but then also have your ice cream not melting, and like those two things need to be at different temperatures in my face. Maybe that's why I don't like the apple pie ice cream idea. But anyway, so I need to pull back on that, like, go spend your last $4 for this ice cream cone. Don't spend your last $4, but, you know, if you have $8, maybe it's a good option. Thank you for loving me, even though you know, this was a messy bun before I slept on it last night. Now it's an extra messy bun. That's right, kids. Even though you were coming to visit, I didn't put on a bra or brush my hair. I'm keeping it real, right? That's what we call it, when in fact we mean I am keeping it real. This is pretty real, yo. Like, if you just showed up at my house, don't do that. I will not answer the door. But this is what you would find. If you were lucky. So I finished the idea that I should tell you what this shirt was because I was making it last time. Now I don't remember anymore. It's made by Ray. And it's the ruby top. And this is cottoneer. I love this top. I'm not going to lie. But I need to do like a sewing episode because I've sewn quite a few things since we talked last. I'm so sorry. I should not be glorping my tea as we talk. Because I'm trying to, somebody asked last time about I said something about my disposable tank tops. I forgot that some of you have not been here for a long time. The way knits are made now, like a lot of the knits that, at least the knits that I have access to, either because of my size or like what price point I'm willing to invest, just pill like crazy. Or if they don't pill, they stain and then hold a stain so easily. I'm sure that's not to do with the quality of the fabric. That's just because. But either way, I end up keeping them, you know, for a couple of years, and then they end up going to the trash can or getting cut up for rags or whatever, because they pill so much. And it drives me bonkers. Now, I know somebody's going to tell me like their tank top that doesn't pill. Please feel free to put it in the comments, because somebody else is looking for a tank top that doesn't pill. And like I have had tank tops. Like I've purchased a tank top from LL Bean several years ago, and it didn't pill, but it was also too thick. Like it was like such a beefy tank top. I didn't like the... Anyway. For me, I'm going to get off this merry-go-round of this tank top purchasing that just is not going well for me. It makes me feel guilty every time I throw one away. And also, like, every time I have to get rid of one, I'm, like, calculating how much money I have then spent on it and then gotten rid of it. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I have the guilt of, like, contributing to garbage, because we don't have, like, a textiles recycling anywhere that I know of. If you know of one, please tell me. But they're just like they're just garbagey. They're not even like something I can pretend that if I give to a resale shop or, you know, something like that, that's going to be of use to anybody. Like they're just no good to anybody. They look garbagey. So I'm trying to move away from that, and also from like knit leggings and stuff. I say leggings. I don't mean like this. I mean like cropped capri pants that are knit, not leggings. So anyway, I'm just trying to move out of that cycle of clothing and like consumption and all that stuff. I'm just trying to break out of it for myself. Like you do you. But there are lots of great reasons to break out of it. Obviously, you can research those. That's not my job, but there's lots of reasons I want to break out of it. And so that's when I say disposable tank tops. That's what I mean. And so I've been trying to make several things that I can wear through the season and stuff like that. So I've been sewing quite a bit more, and I'm really excited. I had this dress number 1, which is just like it's actually the first garment. It's the first sewing pattern I ever sewed, I think, a garment for myself as an adult. I might be wrong, but I don't think I am. I have a really bad memory about certain things. Except if you've wronged me or said something bad about me, then I'm going to remember forever. Oh, I know you'd sympathize. So, dress number 1. So I had one that I had made into an actual dress. Like the ones that I have that I use the most often were made into like tunic length shirts. But I have one that I made into an actual dress. But I've only worn it a few times, and it was made of a nice fabric. I mean, it's not a fancy fabric. I think it was just like an Essex linen, which is like a cotton linen blend. But it was not getting worn. There was a combination of factors. It's slightly too wide to cut in the shoulder, because I'm learning that I need to make I'm a size 26, 28-ish. But if I'm sewing, I really need to accept the fact that I need to make a 22 and then just do a big old full bust adjustment on it. And I just have not been at that place yet of like, it's just like when I was learning to knit, it never was in my thought. Actually, I just didn't even think about being able to do it, about modifying a knitwear pattern for myself. But now I do it all the time, and it's no big deal. So I just need to get to that place with garment sewing. But I think I'm moving to that realization, because it does just make such a difference in how things fit. And if I get that adjustment once, then I can make, whatever I need from that pattern. Anyway, I have a dress number 1. And it just wasn't getting anywhere. So I was like, I'm gonna experiment with this crop top thing, because I have made a couple of pairs of pants for myself that are very high-waisted, and I thought, I was very afraid to try the crop top, but wait, I think I have something on social media with the crop top, right? I think you can put that in here. I'll put it in here. Ding. So hopefully that was me showing you what the crop top looks like. I love it so much. It's so cute. I love it. But so I'm glad I experimented with that crop top because I was really unsure about that whole concept. And now I'm like, yes. Because if you have pockets in your pants and your pants are high-waisted, it just makes good sense to have a crop top if you're comfortable. Because you can get to your pockets better. And they also just make me feel very cute. They totally change the proportions of your body, which is, I mean, obviously. But until you've actually done that, it's hard to understand. And I always know that I felt cute like in cropped sweaters and like a dress, but I just don't wear dresses that often. So, yay, crop tops. Bam. Now I'm making more. Right now I am making the Cashmerette Springfield top, which is not a crop top. It's a tunic, and there's two different versions. There's like a looser version and a slightly snugger version. But the great thing about Cashmerette is that they, for example, in this pattern, it's drafted, I think the max size is, I know the max bust is a 58 if I'm not mistaken. So it could be more inclusive. Definitely. But I'm really glad because it offers 3 different cup sizes for each of your sizes. In the 12 to 28 range. I'm not sure if it does in the 0 to 12 range. You can find that out if you're in that range. But so when I just looked at the pattern chart, I was like, okay, I'm going to make the size 28 with the GH cup. And I made it, and it was okay, but it was just, it had some fit issues. And like, oh my gosh, I don't need to tell you about this because this is what I was going to do in my special episode. It is it has a few fit issues. So I was like thinking about how I was going to modify it. And then I realized that Cashmerette has this thing where you can put in your measurements and they will tell you what size you should make with what amount of full bust adjustment if you need one. And it said I needed to make a size 22 with the GH cup with a 4-inch FBA. Which doesn't really even look like it's going to work. When I made the pattern piece adjustment, I was like, this totally works, by the way. Spoiler. Where was I going with that? Oh, but that's what I'm using as a crop top. It's not a crop top, but one of the versions has like a band, like as an option to sew like a contrasting band around the bottom. And so I just made mine sans band. And then it's a crop top for me. Like I love the that Cashmerette's patterns have those options. It's just that their aesthetic is a little bit more formal than I usually feel. But the great thing is like with Instagram and things like that, you can see so many different sewists' interpretations of the patterns, which is very helpful. Because while they present their things in a much more, again, a slightly more formal aesthetic than I have, when you look at other folks' interpretations of it, it does help. Like, oh, okay, I see that option, that fabric really kind of softens that line and makes it, you know what I mean? So it's very helpful. Just like with the Stephen West patterns, like lots of times when I see his cover photo, I'm like, well, that's cool, but it's not really my jam. But then it seems like whenever I'm at an in-person knitting event, they'll happen again soon. When I see somebody's shawl that I love, they're like, oh yeah, it's a Stephen West pattern. I'm like repeatedly. So, anyway. Okay, I gotta take those tea bags out. Now we're moving away from not flavor into excessive flavor. Oh my gosh. there a garbage bag right under my table with some fabric scraps? Yes, because I was cutting fabric earlier for bags. I'm going to do shameless self-promotion at the very end because I don't have all my samples sewn up. But there will be a sewn to order shop update this Friday, which is, I don't know what that is. It's the second Friday of June. There will be a sewn to order update, which means I'll put all the bags out. And they usually have about a 2-week turnaround. Maybe 3 if things get crazy. And there will be some discounted bags because there are a few fabric seconds. Like the fabric is of great quality, but maybe there's like a slight misprint or something like that in the fabric. So there'll be some of those, especially in the errant, like the biggest size. There'll be some gnomes and some mushrooms, and then also some like very graphic prints. There's going to be some mustard. Anyway, that'll be at the end. And speaking of dollars, I have so I made a bonus episode pretty recently, and I did really tend to talk about monetizing and things like that at the beginning, but I just kind of fell into it by happenstance. And of course, the universe needs to make me immediately eat my words. YouTube has changed their policy on ads. And so while I have always opted out of ads, opted out of monetizing my podcast or whatever this is called, a vlog, while I have always opted out of monetization because I prefer for you not to see ads, now YouTube is basically saying, well, we're going to put ads on it. So either you choose how the ads are used and receive some of that compensation, or we're just going to put ads anywhere we want. We're going to put them in the middle, we're just going to choose, and you don't get any compensation, which seems like a very weird hill to try to die on. So I have to eat my words and go back, and I'm sorry, there are going to be ads. I chose to have the ads be ones that you can skip, and I chose for them to only be at the beginning or the end of the podcast, but I did not have another option. So I do apologize. It's not at all what I wanted to do. But I rely on the servers that belong to YouTube to make this thing happen. So something I have to adapt to. And I am sorry about that. But at this point, I don't have another option that is feasible. But maybe there will be another one in the future. And that would be rad. But yeah, so that's happening. But hopefully you can skip them and everything else like that. Okay, moving on. What else do I need to talk about? Did that? Oh, ceramics class. So the teen and I are taking a ceramics class together. I have always wanted to learn to throw pottery on the wheel. Even high school age, I really wanted to learn how to do that. When I was in college, I did take a hand building class that was offered at a neighboring college. So I rode the college bus to. It was a five college consortium. So I had a ceramics class at UMass that I took the bus to. And it was great. I loved it. I definitely did not. We had a raku firing. We had a challenge where we had to make a pot that was at least 36 or something. I don't think it had to be a pot. It had to be at least 36 inches tall. So as the ridiculously extra person I am, I made this insane Georgia O'Keeffe-esque, lily floral throated pot that was literally so big that I could not actually get my arms around it. I think it was this big at the biggest part of the belly, and was almost, I think it was definitely at least 3 feet tall, but it was ridiculous is what I'm trying to get to. And because of how my brain works, I couldn't just stay in the ceramic studio and work on it, I definitely needed to bring it home on the bus. What is wrong with me? So I brought this insane thing home on the bus, the public bus. Clearly, that's what you do. And then, of course, worked on it for like a weekend or something, and then took it back on the bus at like 6:30 in the morning. What is up with ceramics classes being so early in the morning? And unfortunately, it never, I don't know if it got fired or not, because I don't know, it was like the end of the year, I think. And like, I just didn't have access to get back there. And like, what was I going to do with it? I couldn't bring it home on the plane. I mean, there were not even like baggage requirements then. I'm so old. We were booking a flight for Montana to go to Yellowstone and Grand Tetons. And like all these restrictions about like what you can, like what, and I was just like, I'm so old. But anyway, even though you could have like brought this giant, I guess technically I did, yeah, I think I would have had to buy it a seat, because I don't think I would check it. But that was all to say that I really always loved it. And we had this ceramics annex at Smith that like some alum funded way back when. I have no idea, but bless her heart. But in like a nice way, not a Southern way. So we could go and like for like $10 a semester or something, maybe even for the whole year. I don't know. You could be a member of the ceramics club, and I think you got a key to the ceramics annex, because it wasn't just open all the time. And I really tried so hard to learn how to throw. We had these like, but there was no YouTube back then. There was, I think the person gave us like one demonstration, and I just never, what I did was just tear all the skin off the sides of my hands. We had these like pressed wood bats, like chipboard, and they were so rough. And so I was like trying to center my clay and everything, and like eventually I just had no skin on the side of my hand. At that point I was like, okay, I just need to let go of this dream. But now I'm a grown up, and I got to take a class. I'm still taking it. It's 8 weeks long. What? It's true. I am still really bad at ceramics. I am not a gifted ceramicist at all. But I'm doing much better than I did before. It's true. Is Gus going to bark at everything? Maybe. Maybe he'll be restrained. But it's so cool. I'm so bad at it. I mean, we were supposed to do glazing the last time, and like I was just like the dead weight pulling the whole class down. I think because I did not have enough stuff fired for like a glazing fire, like enough bisque fire to like do glazing. I'm pretty sure he was just like, whatever. I'm not good at it, but I'm really excited about it. I'm already like, okay, I need to take this class next, and then I need to take maybe another beginner's class, and then I'm going to take... Very enjoyable. So yeah, so that's why I don't have all my samples sewn. I've been doing ceramics and making clothes for myself. Not even taking time to brush my hair, apparently. I've also been sitting and doing nothing a lot, which not in like a good way, like not in a productive, like wholesome centering way. I don't know what it's but like not in a useful, wholesome centering way, not in a like let's be mindful and in the moment, and really like just in a ridiculous way. In a ridiculous way of like just like putting things in a shopping cart online and then like being proud of myself that I didn't buy them. It's like he's those cars when you're trying to make a left-hand turn that just perfectly space themselves out so that you can't turn, but it like kind of seems like you could at each time. What a way he's barking at. Anyway. right? Like modern times, right? I need to like, do you do something? Like, do you do something? Do you have like input on great ways to just get out of that cycle of just, like, I'm not even like phone staring in a even like inspirational way. Like, just, just need to put my phone in a different room. It's really what I need to do. Would at least help. Or something. Maybe I need to do something else so that I feel more mentally capable. Because I'm sure that's like a big part of it, right? When you're just doing that kind of like boredom stuff, is like that your brain just is in like a dumb purgatory place of like not being so tired that it needs to nap, but also not awake enough to be productive. Or again, and I don't mean productive in like a making something way, just like in a present way. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Thank you for sitting with me when I complain about things. I know that lots of you are having these things too. And then some of you are just like, stop doing that. And like, thank you. I do need to stop doing that. You're right. Oh, I'm also wearing new glasses. These are from Zenny. They're the same ones as my pink ones, except they're green, and I love them. I will say that for some reason, these two glasses, when you get them, have completely straight earpieces, which I've never had glasses like that. I've bent these. They're so lightweight. Like, these are the lightest glasses ever. I do not have a very strong prescription. I'm like a 2.25, 2.5 minuses. But they're so light, you can actually just have them without the ear hooking. They will, but for me, because I often wear my hair up, they get caught, like they get stuck in my hair or headphones or stuff like that. So I do want them to kind of curve down. But they're weird. That's like the only ones I've ever had that were like that. Never had glasses that were straight. This is very strange, but I mean, come on. Did I also buy rose gold aviator sunglasses? Maybe. Maybe. Oh my gosh, should we talk about Woolstok? Let's do it. Oh my gosh, I finished a sweater. Well, I think it's finished anyway. Oh, I have a embroidery. I'll just talk about this. Talked so much about nothing that you're surely like, shut up. You can turn it off. I finished this Granny Go Around jumper, which I don't have the pattern name for, or the pattern writer for, but ta-da! Look how cute it is! It's in Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok, and because of the striping sequence and the very specific amount of yarn, they opted for a 3/4 sleeve. So I used every single bit. I had 1 skein of red, 1 skein of orange, 1 skein of yellow, 2 skeins of light green, 2 skeins of dark green, 3 skeins of light blue, and then 5 skeins, I'm pretty sure 5 skeins of the brown. And I did have brown left. But instead of the pattern has you do crochet edging, I did just do a 1 or 2x2 rib. I just like the look of it. I didn't ask for approval on that. Oops. So I did 2x2 rib, and all I did was figure out the gauge for my ribbing and just pick up. For me, what happened is I picked up for every 9 crochet stitches, I picked up 10 knit stitches. And I think that gave us a good, because you want it to come in a little bit because you don't want it to flare out. That's faux show. And I also went down a crochet hook on like the last 5 rows. Went down one side's crochet hook to kind of, again, help with a little bit of negative, slightly less ease at the hip so that you don't get an A-line shape if you don't want that. And then the other thing that I did differently, okay, so here are all the things I did differently. Knit ribbing instead of crochet, 3/4 sleeve. You're supposed to go back and do a little bit more on the neckline, but since it's not for me, I wasn't sure. For me, I definitely would leave it like this. So I'm going to leave it like this. I think the recipient will appreciate a more open neckline, but she's a knitter, so she could always go and just pick up a little bit. Other things that I did differently. The sleeve. Now granted, it's supposed to be a full sleeve, but the sleeve as written has no decreases in it, which means it's the same for circumference here as it is at your wrist. And while I think that, again, this is just a personal opinion, for me, I think that looks cute if you have a smaller arm circumference, but it becomes impractical when you're, for example, my size. Like my arm circumference for a sleeve needs to be at least like 21 inches, unless I want negative ease, which you don't usually want in a sleeve. And if I have a 21-inch circumference here, that is just like dangerous, right? Like I'm going to catch that on everything. It's just impractical. And while ribbing will bring it in a little bit, it will not bring it in enough to make it any less of a safety concern, like let alone aesthetics. So I did decrease. Now her sleeve is smaller than me, but I did decrease just a tiny bit. Again, just so that it wouldn't be quite as flappy. But so that's another thing that I did differently. One other small thing that I did differently is there are no short rows or anything in the back of this sweater. And so for 2 of the brown rows, because I thought it would be most inconspicuous, I did do triple crochets instead. This is US terms. I did do triple crochets instead of doubles in the hopes that it would raise it up a little bit. And it did raise it up a little bit, but not that much. I probably should have thought about it before that I got that far and done some more double crochets or some more triple crochets, like in the dark green stripe or something. Just to give it a little bit more length in the back. If you're new to sweater knitting, sweaters fit from a knitting experience, from a knitting perspective. Okay, that's not true. I have crocheted a sweater for myself, and I did put triple crochets instead of doubles, because you can definitely do short rows with crochet. You can definitely do them, but the crocheted sweaters I've made so far have had stripes, and it is beyond my current skill level to do short rows with stripes and make them look good. Do you know what I mean? And like if you're just doing like an every other stripe, that's easier, but with there's like multiple, whatever. So from a knitting perspective, if you make the back of your sweater longer, it will fit better. Like it just anatomically fits better if the back is a little bit higher, a little bit longer, because it has to go over. I don't actually know why. Whatever, it fits better. And so, but like crochet patterns tend to not have that written in, or at least I've looked at several, and by several I mean less than 5, and they've not had that written in. So I tried to add some triple crochets just to help a little bit. And I think other than that, that's all I changed. But it's very cute, right? It's so cute. Now this is a worsted weight crochet sweater. It's not the lightest garment you're ever going to wear, but it is really... The nice thing about crochet is even if it's a heavier garment, you don't have to worry as much about it stretching out because it has just less stretch in it. Crochet is much more rigid than knitting. So that's one of the nice things is that, it's not going to stretch out as much as like a knit would with that amount of weight. But I'm proud of it. Okay. And then I did work for a minute on some spinning. What? Is that even possible? I know, right? Okay, so what else have I been working on? Oh, I worked a little bit more on my crochet, on my knit socks. Aren't they cute? So this is the Twizzler pattern, and this is yarn from Knit Spin Farm. This is her Tarhi nylon sock. Those would be my self-striping socks of choice for my last self-striping socks. The best at Knit Spin Farm. Let's see, what else have you seen? Okay, you've only seen this. Okay, so, oh, of course I'm in the middle of a row. So, I'm knitting the Boo Knits Hope Remains shawl. And I'm knitting this with just some lace weight from yarn.com in the Vallet yarns. I don't know which one it is. I haven't knit a whole lot on it, but I'm really excited because it's gotten to the place where I can now read it. And so I don't feel like as much, like there's this point when you're knitting lace where if you don't get to a point in the pattern where you're like, okay, I can see what's happening. This isn't like that. This is not a complicated lace pattern at this point, FYI. But still, if you stop because you have like 17 other projects going on before you get to that point, you just look at it from then on like, I should really pick that up, but I'm going to figure out where I'm at. That doesn't really sound like what I want to do. But luckily I picked it up last night and got over that hump. And so now I'm like, okay, now I'm okay. I got it now. And one of the things that was suggested on my tools video, and by the way, there's lots of great suggestions in the comments section of what other knitters use. It's something that I've never used before. That's not true. I probably have used it, but I don't use it regularly. Are like the Post-it, so you can highlight what line you're on, which I should really have used because it would have made that whole hump of going back to my pattern infinitely easier. Sometimes just because you know better doesn't mean you do better. So there's that. My next project. Okay, so I purchased this yarn. This is M to the third, and it's EM to the third yarn company. I purchased this yarn, and I am so lucky. She's a fan of the podcast, so she sent along some bonuses. So this yarn is, this one is a fingering weight. It's 40% merino, 40% Peruvian Highland wool, 20% nylon. And it's hand dyed with natural dyes. And isn't that I love an overtime, right? It's just gorgeous. And I actually got it thinking that I was going to cast on another thing that I cast on. But then I decided I liked it too much, and so I had to put it in reserve and think. But luckily, she also sent me, do you do that? I'm like, this is too precious. But luckily, she also sent me this other yarn, which is her DK liminal base. So I wanted to pop in, and I found the yarn tag. So this is M to the third's liminal base. And the great thing about this yarn is that it is a 100% New England sourced Romney and U.S. Merino wool blend. And it is also hand dyed with natural dyes. It's gorgeous. It is very enjoyable. This is the color, right? And so I had to think quite a bit about what to make with it because I just wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure, you know, like when you have a yarn that you really love the texture of, it's like you want to do honor to that. And like, anyway, I had to think about it quite a bit. But what I decided on was that I was going to make mitten, like a fold over mitten, like a fold down. So it's really not a mitten because it's an open top, but you just fold down the ribbing if you need your fingers free. I really just like that and find it very wearable. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to make that, but I'm also going to embroider on it. Like I'm going to make some wool embroidery because I'm really enjoying the idea of embroidery right now. And I thought this color would just be an amazing base for what I'm interested in right now, which is like pinks and mauves. Who am I? I don't know. Whatever. But then I got the mitten to this point, to like this point, and I realized like, okay, I actually want this to be slightly more windproof or warmer. So I didn't want to add like a mohair strand because again, I really wanted to keep the integrity of the texture and the color. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and just line it. So I flipped the mitten, or the glove, whatever. I flipped the thing inside out and just picked up stitches from here, and now I'm knitting a lining. Now, if I were really fancy, and what I thought about was like, oh, I could do the embroidery now, and then I could knit the lining, and then the embroidery, like the tails and stuff, the ugly bits, would be enclosed in the lining. And wouldn't that be cool? But part of the reason, which you totally could do, but part of the reason I wanted to do it this way, rather than like finishing it and then knitting a lining, is that I wanted, it would make less finishing. Like I could just pick this up, knit to here, and then do a 3-needle bind off. Well, actually what I would do is do a 3-needle join, where you're actually joining this extra stitches into here, and then you keep knitting. But it's like a 3-needle bind out without the bind off. You know what I mean, right? It would be less finishing. I wouldn't have to like sew something down or like make it look good. So I don't know, will I get brave and like do the embroider with all this crazy stuff happening too? I really should, but we'll see. I don't know. But right now I'm just working on the lining, and all I did was I may have done something crazy. I only made it 1 stitch smaller, the lining. So hopefully it will lay in there well. I mean, it's a DK weight yarn, so we'll just see. This is what happens when you go off book. I'm just using the basic pattern from Tin Can Knits. It's their like mitten pattern. That's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it has like child through adult, large, extra large, or something like that. It has fingering, DK, worsted, and chunky, I think. It's got like 4 gauges. So I'm just using that as a base. And again, I know that I want ribbing to start about here and then end about here. So again, you can flip it down and it'll... Right, so I'll just, the like extra warmth, the double lining will only go to here, like before I start the ribbing. Because again, this part's going to get folded down, so it will be doubled anyway. Right, are you with me? So this yarn is very enjoyable. I actually started a pair of Nucks, which are like the fingerless gloves, but just ultimately decided to go with this instead. I actually have like 6 fingers on some needles over there. I know, I think I did take it apart. But I was like, again, I don't think I really want those. I use this kind of mitten much more. I think I think it's called the shepherd's glove or something, like the shepherd's mitt. Maybe shepherd's mitt. Because the first ones I made were with piece fleece, and I just really dig them. They're the things that I kind of reach for more than anything else in terms of hand coverings. Because they have the practicality of a glove, like where you can get your actually more practical than a glove, because you can get your fingers out and actually touch stuff. But you don't have to knit fingers, and they're actually warmer than fingers on a glove are, because unless you're knitting with like a really fine wool, I've knit a few pairs of gloves and they just get real chunky in the fingers. And so unless you're knitting with a really fine wool, you just feel kind of like your fingers are never quite together. Does that make sense? Okay, apparently I'm just making up that whole shepherd's mitt thing. Do you know what it is? Oh my gosh, you know I gotta look now. Oh, enjoy your coffee for just a minute, your tea, whatever. There's probably go forage. There's definitely a baked good somewhere. Oh, I just ate the last scone. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Dang it. Alright, okay, apparently I'm just not gonna find it. Oh my gosh. What is wrong with me? Why can't I just let it go? You know I can't, right? I have to edit this out. Were you screaming at me? Were you screaming at me? Were you screaming, lambing mitts, not shepherd's mitts, lambing mitts? Sorry. Oh my gosh, gosh, but then I forgot to tell you this too. Emily the Third also sent me these stickers. She offered this one as a free phone wallpaper. What? Aren't they cute? I'm dying. So cute. Okay, what else? Is that. Okay. And then, okay, what I was originally thinking I was going to use my beautiful yarn for was there's a new Cinthia Vallet turtle. Oh, turtle. It's called a Jodie turtle. I meant pattern, but I said turtle because it is in fact a turtle. Do you remember the mole I made? And if your question is immediately, what about the shell? Because that was my teen's first question. Let me find it for you. I can't decide which is the cutest one to show you. Oh my gosh, I'm terrible with this. Oh my god, look at the illustration also. Can we just discuss how cute the illustration is? Dang it, y'all. So I just have a little bit because I'm savoring this one. This is some leftover Brooklyn tweed, loft shelter, whatever, the fingering I want. And I think this is the sap colorway. Are you ready? So the great thing about her patterns are excellent. They're very well thought out. And she makes them intentionally from like the face. It's like you start with the face. And she does it intentionally so that you actually have the face of the character like as you're knitting further along to like inspire you. And like are you kidding me? How cute is that? So these are just some tiny little safety eyes. I had in like a kit of safety eyes. I'm not sure. They're just tiny. But like, how cute. And she has you mark where you put the eyes, which I really appreciate. She has you mark where you're going to put your eyes. She's very explicit about where to sew your nostrils and your mouth. So cute. This world is disappointing and scary and disheartening and heartbreaking and just generally quite stressful. But then, tiny wool turtle. I'm having a very, like, a day where I feel like I need to cry about stuff. But, like, nothing is particular. I feel like I'm just having a slight release of, like, but also, like, at the same time, being really enamored with all of the lovely things of life. So it's making me a little bit contradictory. I'm, like, both so worried and so anxious and, like, so very heartbroken and so stressed out about so many things. But also, I am so joyful about tiny wool turtles. And shirts that fit me. Not about this green tea, though. It's ceramics class. Even though I'm bad at it. Alright, let's we're all going on strike. I'm just calling it. We're all just gonna stop doing things we don't like to do. I know we can't do that. But I really I don't know what's going on, but I feel like I'm having like a moment of like life is too fleeting. And like, let's just all stop. Let's only have fun. If we just need like a month, okay, then we're gonna be like, oh, we just need one more month. But come on. sick of it. I'm not doing anything that's not fun. I'm done. Right? Let's commune. Anyway, let's get back to now I'm like in an awkward place where I don't even have anything else to talk about to wrap this nonsense up. Sometimes I overshare. That's because you're in my living room, dining room, kitchen, front room. You're in my house and we're visiting. Except you're on a delay and can't tell me, like, okay, that's enough. Ah, sorry. That's the way this works. All right. And other things that might make you cry about how beautiful things are. I never showed you this. My teen made us wool sculptures for Christmas this year. This is actually my husband's because he is the firekeeper at like all of our like what is that called? Camping events? Trips. Do you see this? There's a tea light, like an electric tea light clearly. It flickers like fire. Oh my gosh. And then look at mine. This is mine as a bear. Oh my gosh, look how beautiful it is. Okay, there we go. So this is my bear. Isn't she beautiful? I mean, look at her ears. Oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. So thanks for hanging out with me while I remembered to try to be more present. I'm gonna really try to work on that this week and forever, but also this week. I'm gonna I guess I'm gonna insert shameless promotion here. That seems so bad, but whatever. It's shameless and like a girl's gotta eat. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna put the shameless self-promotion at the end. I'll put it after this, even though this is the end, but like that'll be the extra end. So I'm just gonna say goodbye now, and then if you want to hang out, you can see stuff. Anyway. My hope for you this week is that the chaos, I mean, unless you like chaos, but for me, chaos is the opposite of what I like. That was me just thinking, like, maybe I should hope that you can just be in the chaos and enjoy it like people in the chaos do. And then I was like, that is too much. Because usually I try to take this point as like advice to myself too, and I rejected that advice. My hope this week is that the of it all is somehow outweighed by the tiny wool turtle or your blackberry bush that's making so many blackberries. A blackberry bush is making so many blackberries, and birds haven't figured it out yet. It's not really, they're not ripe yet, so it's probably gonna happen any minute now. Or whatever ordinary thing you need to find miraculous. And I will talk to you next time. Bye. So this is where I'm supposed to put shameless self-promotion, but you know what? I'm just not going to get my samples together, and I'm okay with that today. Or at least I'm going to say I'm okay with it. Yeah, there's going to be bags. They'll be sewn to order, and I know I should promote them, but I don't want to right now. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.